Can you hear me now? Okay. The first speaker is going to be Clint Meekum, Meecam. The second one, he is the Emergency Management Director of Emergency Management. And George Rechtenwald, Recktenwald. He is the County Manager. Sheriff Mike Chitwood. And Patty Cord, CORR, is going to be here for questions from the school district.
Why? Thank you, Francis. CORR. Chief Operating Officer.
Okay, so if you guys are ready, we're going to start off with Clint, and then they will be available for questions at the end. Clint?
So good afternoon, everybody. Again, my name is Clint Meekum. I am the Emergency Management Director here in Volusia County. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. We're here to talk today to talk about Milton's potential impacts and the preparations for safety and evacuations and curfews in relation to Hurricane Milton. We've witnessed Hurricane Milton continue to grow into a Category 5 hurricane. This is a substantial threat, not only to Volusia County, but to many areas across the state of Florida. Don't be fooled or get complacent with the reports that this storm will lose its intensity by the time it reaches us. We're still going to get hit very, very hard. We're looking at the potential to receive up to a foot of rainfall in some areas of the county and Category 1 strength winds across the county, along with some storm surge and some localized flooding in some of the areas. If you haven't already, you still have time tonight and tomorrow to make those last-minute preparations this storm is likely to bring. This storm is also likely to bring widespread power outages, so make sure that you and your family have what you need before the storm hits. Grab enough food and water. Make sure that any exterior objects, such as your yard furniture, your Halloween decorations, are brought in and they don't turn into potential missiles. Also, if you have medications that you need, make sure that you've got enough medication to last you through the coming days. Volusia County has been operating numerous sandbag distribution centers over the last few days, and they're going to remain open through tomorrow. Based on the current weather projections, this will be likely be the last day that we're able to do those sandbag operations, so this will be your last chance to get those areas. If you live in low-lying areas or along the St. Johns River, you're at an increased chance to experience flooding from this event, so take the threat of this very, very seriously. Take the opportunity to protect your property, but above all, we want you to protect your lives. I'm joined today by County Manager George Rechtenwald, Volusia County Sheriff Mike Chitwood, and Volusia County Schools Chief Operating Officer Patty Cord. At this time, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Rechtenwald, the County Manager. George.
Yep. Thank you, Clint. We are making every effort to ensure our infrastructure is prepared for Hurricane Milton. Our drainage crews have been and will continue to inspect all county-maintained stormwater assets to ensure they're functioning properly and flowing free of obstructions in advance of the storm. Due to the conditions, as Clint just mentioned, we're issuing an evacuation order for areas east of the Intercoastal Waterway, those in manufactured and mobile homes, those in low-lying areas, and other areas prone to flooding, and for those at campsites and RV recreational vehicle parks. This will go into effect Wednesday morning at 8 a.m. We're also coordinating with our cities to evacuate properties that are still deemed vulnerable from previous storm events. We'll also be opening multiple emergency shelters at 9 a.m. on Wednesday morning. There'll be general population shelters. They'll include Creekside Middle School, DeLand High School, University High School, Mainland High School, and the Volusia County Fairgrounds. The Fairgrounds shelter will also be pet friendly. For those with special needs, they may go to Galaxy Middle School and David C. Hinson Senior Middle School. If you do seek refuge in a shelter, it is recommended to bring pillows, blankets, snacks, and other items that will make you be more comfortable. Our Votran team will be ready to safely transport residents to and from shelters at no charge. We will be providing more about this tomorrow. As the storm continues, we will continue evaluating the needs to close the bridges based on current projections. There's actually a very real possibility this is going to occur. They close when you have winds that reach 40 miles an hour sustained. This will probably happen Wednesday evening. We'll ensure plenty of notice before that happens. At this time, I'd like to have Sheriff Mike Chitwood come up.
Thank you, George. This is not the time to be lackadaisical. The window is closing on us, and we really need to be prepared. We are going to be instituting a curfew beginning Wednesday night at 8 p.m., and we anticipate lifting it probably Thursday morning at 8 a.m. The purpose for that is during the height of the storm, we need folks off the street. You need to allow law enforcement, EMS, and fire to do their job. You heard the county manager talk about the bridges, sustained winds of 40 miles an hour or more. The bridges will be shut down. And the last thing I have to stress is this. I really don't need anybody out there sightseeing or storm seeing and then making yourself an emergency and endangering first responders. We have a job to do. There's going to be a point in time during the storm that we might not be able to respond. So I implore everyone, please listen to the directions that are being provided by county leadership, and let's get through this safely. And I think at that point, I'm supposed to introduce you.
Yes, thank you. Hi, Patty Core from Volusia County Schools. I come and bring greetings from Dr. Balgobin, our superintendent, and I'm just here to answer any questions if there are any. So our closure plan is actually tomorrow, Tuesday, we will be open, but we are running our early release spell schedule that we traditionally run on Wednesdays. And the reason was not necessarily because it's unsafe for the storm yet, but because we want to give people that extra hour to prepare. And also, we'll be setting up our special needs shelters starting tomorrow afternoon, and that gives us ample time to set those up. We are closed on Wednesday and Thursday, and Friday is yet to be determined.
Thanks, Patty. Appreciate that very much. Just before we open it up to any further questions, I just wanted to reiterate and reemphasize the seriousness of this threat. This is a major storm. It's coming right at us. It's not going to miss us. We are going to see the effects from this storm. So we implore everybody to please be prepared and be ready to receive this storm. I'll also plug the Volusia County Emergency Management app. It's a resource for you to receive real-time weather information, updates, sandbag locations, shelters that might open, and also a way for you to submit any damage reports directly to us here in Volusia County. Also, frequently visit the Volusia County website. We'll provide a link for that at the end of this as well. But make sure that you stay informed. Again, this is a very, very serious event. And to that end, we have also opened our Citizen Information Center. That will remain open through the rest of today. It will be open again tomorrow, and it will remain open for as long as needed. That's a place where our citizens can go to ask any questions rather than needing to call 911 for non-emergency issues. The number for that Citizen Information Center is 866-345-0345. Again, the Citizen Information Center number for Volusia County is 866-345-0345. Lastly, before we open it up to questions, I just want to reassure our public, you have a fantastic team here in Volusia County government working diligently, and we have been working diligently for a number of days now to make all the preparations that we can to ensure your safety, your family's safety, and the safety of our visitors here to our great county. We take it very, very seriously. We have wonderful partnerships, obviously, and we have wonderful first responders with our law enforcement, our fire, our EMS, our public works folks. They are there to ensure your safety. But please, we implore you, help us help you by being ready for this and taking this seriously. So with that, I will answer any questions, or we will answer any questions you might have. Ma'am.
Sheldon Gardner from the Daytona Beach News Journal. Is the eye actually going to pass over Volusia?
So right now, the information that we're getting from the National Weather Service, it's actually looking like it's going to pass to the south of us. Now, that being said, we're still a number of days away from that happening, so the storm could shift track. But right now, it looks like the eye is going to go to the south of us.
When will we start seeing impacts here?
So again, based on the information that we're receiving from the National Weather Service, our most likely time of approach and when we're going to start feeling the effects is Wednesday late afternoon into evening through Wednesday night and into Thursday morning.
What are you expecting to see that prompted the evacuation decision?
So there's a number of factors that go into the decision to make to issue an evacuation order. Based on the potential impacts that we're looking at, out of regard for those life safety issues, we always consider that first. So again, with the amount of wind that we could see, with the amount of rain that we could see, the fact that we have properties along our coast that are still that suffered damage from previous storms, we take all those factors into account when we make those decisions to ultimately issue an evacuation order.
This is Kelsey with Fox 35 News. During the 2022 hurricane season, I mean, we saw Wilbur by the Sea, homes there that were really just decimated by those storms that we saw move past. So how are you preparing those communities? I mean, I spoke to a property manager earlier today, and she was on the phone with me explaining that she's really nervous about this hurricane.
And again, this is a serious storm, so we do need to take it very seriously. 2022 was unique. We got 2 storms within 2 weeks, so it was a double impact, right? So that's a little different than the situation that we're facing now. But we've been working with those properties along the beach to again ensure and armor to the extent that we can those properties, and again, issuing evacuation orders. Hey, we understand that we have some vulnerabilities here. We need to protect the lives of our citizens and our visitors. So again, that's why we're taking this very serious step and looking at these evacuation orders.
What about flooding? I mean, where are some of the areas that you expect will see the most flooding?
So again, based on the information we're getting from the National Weather Service, we could see localized flooding pretty much any place in the county. We're going to see impacts along the west side of the county in the St. Johns River, for example. That's already in the moderate flood stage. We could see it go up into the severe flood stage, and we're expecting that later in the week. Along the coast, we're probably gonna see some degree of storm surge, though not as heavily as we saw during like Ian and Nicole. And along with that storm surge, we're going to get a lot of rain. So we're going to see flooding. It's going to be localized, but again, our public works crews have been out there doing everything they can in cooperation with our municipal partners to make sure that the storm drain systems, the drainage systems are just as ready as they can be to, again, minimize the impact to the extent that we can.
What about A1A? I mean, there's been an ongoing project trying to fix that area of the road for a while, and now we've got this new storm coming in. I mean, how are you preparing that portion of the county?
So A1A is a state road. We're working with our state partners. We always do to make sure that, again, that road, if it gets damaged, it's repaired as rapidly as possible. We work with FDOT to try and mitigate the damage that we may receive. But again, it's that close communication and those close partnerships that we work with, and all of the other projects across Volusia County that Volusia County is responsible for, the public works roads projects and stuff. Those have all been buttoned up in anticipation of the storm. So again, we're taking all the measures that we can to make sure that we are just as absolutely ready as we can be.
Sure. And I think this goes without saying, you know, there are so many people that are constantly moving to Florida, and even a lot of social media, Facebook groups, people are worried about this storm. Like, should I board at my house? What do I do? So for anyone that's new to Florida, what is your advice for weathering the storm?
So again, this is a very serious storm, right? We want to emphasize that, but we don't want to create a panic either. Volusia County has been through hurricanes before. We'll experience hurricanes in the future. Some of the things that we always recommend: do you have ample water and food? Are you prepared if your power goes out? Are you in an area that may be susceptible to missile damage, debris flying through the air, and those sorts of things? So we always recommend whatever people feel is appropriate, and that is up to and including evacuations. Even though Mr. Rechtenwald mentioned that we are going to be issuing an evacuation order, if you're uncomfortable, right, leave the area. Now, it's a little bit more challenging than that in this particular situation. We had Hurricane Helene go by, that damaged areas throughout the southeast part of the U.S. There's not a lot of places to go that haven't been affected by Helene or are going to be affected by Milton. So again, move inland if you're uncomfortable. Get away from the potential areas of flooding. Family, friends, whatever you may have to get out of those potential impact areas. But again, what you're comfortable with.
Are you putting out any kind of emergency sand or trap bags or anything? I know there's some weak spots or there were along the coast.
We've been working with our municipal partners, and those partners, if they've had requests for those kinds of items, we've been working with them just as closely as we can to provide whatever materials that we have that they might need that would be beneficial to them.
Can you go over the evacuation areas again? This is pretty much everything on the coast, right?
Exactly. So those properties that were previously damaged by the storms are of special concern to us. But additionally, low-lying areas that are prone to flooding, any structures that have that lightweight construction, RVs, mobile homes, that sort of thing, those are the structures that we're primarily concerned about, again, because of the potential for the wind and the rain.
What if somebody doesn't know, they think, oh, okay, maybe I'm in a risky flood area, but they're not sure if they should evacuate, should they just call or?
So you can always call the Citizens Information Center with that number that I gave. We can help you provide that information. There is also a website, Know Your Zone, where it's an interactive website. You can go on there, put in your address, and it will tell you what evacuation zone you're in. So there's a number of ways to stay informed. But again, if you have any questions, call us here at the Citizens Information Center. We're here to help you as best we can. Anything else?
Last question. So what about, some people stay behind anyways. I mean, if someone's thinking about just staying and, not evacuating, any thoughts about that?
The sheriff touched on this a little bit, and if he wants to jump in, I'm more than happy to let him. But at the same time, please understand, there may become a time in the storm, there will become a time in the storm that if you run into an emergency, should you choose to stay, our first responders, as good as they are a finite resource, and we need to protect them as well, right? So we need to be in a position, you need to understand that if you pick up the phone and call 911, the answer may be, we understand, you have an emergency, what is your address? We will get to you as soon as possible. Sheriff, is there anything you'd like to add to that, sir?
I was just during Ian, we had folks who didn't evacuate, and now they're screaming that I have 8 inches of water or 2 feet of water in my house, you got to come and get me. Well, we couldn't get there. And for some unknown reason, we had somebody playing with their handgun and shot themselves, and we couldn't get there to get them. So, there's a reason why we're telling you to evacuate. It's not because we're on a power trip. It's because we might not be able to get to you. And we've had people, just look around at the folks who didn't evacuate during Helene who were asked to evacuate. So please use a little common sense here.
Sheriff, one question for you, just kind of following up on that at curfew. How are you enforcing the 8 p.m. curfew Wednesday night?
We'll be stopping anything that's on the street. It's a $500 fine if you violate that. The objective here is to let first responders do their job. We don't want to see people who are sightseeing turn into casualties. And lastly, let's understand it. We have opportunists here who want to take advantage of a bad situation. And my response to that is, if we get our hands on you, it's enhanced penalties. So it might not be a felony of the second degree, it might be a felony of the first degree. So you need to take that in consideration. And to tell a quick war story, we had one of our residents head up to Taylor County after Helene passed through, violate the curfew, and got arrested by our deputies for loitering and prowling and violating the curfew.
Last call. Any other questions? Folks, again, thanks for coming and taking the time to come and chat with us this afternoon. We appreciate it very much, and I'm sure we'll be talking as the event progresses. Thank you.